So yeah, man, I guess my first question is like, what is it that you want people to know about you that they just can't like just go and Google like Terrence Floyd? This is who this man is. We famous last name. You know what I'm saying, for unfortunate reasons. And so, like I said, when I talk to people about today's conversation, everybody's like, word, like, you know what I'm saying? I know that brother, I know his family. But like, people might think that they know you because they've like seen you at a place or with a microphone or read about you. But like, what is it that people need to know about you that's not just online?
Well, first and foremost, the connection between you won't find this, but the connection between me and my brother was our father, George Floyd Sr. We had different mothers. That hood family dynamic. But that's the main thing, because people want to know, oh, you the brother, but we see this brother over here, and we see this sister over here. Who's who? So, but you can't Google that. So I'm gonna let you know that's the main thing. That my connection with my brother was our father, George Floyd Sr., who's also deceased. And I was actually going. My fault. I'm sorry.
No.
I was actually gonna not talk about that. When I first came on, when I first was thrusted into this, I wasn't gonna talk about that because I thought nobody would be able to relate, or they'd be like, "Why are you telling us that?" Or he wanted a sympathy story or something like that. But I had to realize that in order to connect with the people and relate to the people, I got to be honest and I got to be transparent.
I think like growing up, I don't remember like hearing the word or the word self-care. You know what I'm saying? I saw like, I'm not like a TikToker at all, but I remember somebody did something on TikTok talking about Gen Xers. And like they were raised by people who didn't know what therapy was. They had to figure things out. And then like you begin to hear like more language that feels casual, but there's meaning behind it. And one question I've thought about, and I think part of I think people might feel like they know you is because there's a degree of like empathy of like, man, I wonder what it's like to be in that person's shoes. But I think my question for you, and I hope the room could like lead into this, is just over the past 4 years, how has your idea of self-care changed, evolved, shifted? Like when you think about what self-care is.
It's definitely evolved because when I thought about self-care before, I just thought about hygiene, keeping myself up, making sure I'm not funky or nothing like that. Make sure my gear's up to par. I'm fresh and all that. But as in the last 4 years, I realized it's deeper than that. Because your outer man could look flourishing and happy and joyous, and your insides is damaged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you walking around here looking like you okay, but you're not. So that's why I thank God for my foundation, which was based in the church in prayer. I'm gonna say prayer, not church.
I see that distinction.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it gets crazy when you say church, but prayer, because that covers it all.
No, that's a word.
You know what I'm
Amen.
saying?
That's a word. That's a word, man. So yeah, I mean, if I seem nervous, it's like this is like emotional for me. So I can only imagine just how you move. And I just, like I said, bro, I'm just honored to be able to have a discussion with you, because like 4 years feels like yesterday,
Right.
for me.
Right.
I'm thinking about May 23rd, 2020, how that felt for me, right? I'm like, oh, it's like an election year.
Right.
Trump is bungling COVID, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like Memorial Day is coming up. And so I'm just like, damn. When you think of what you've been able to see and witness over the past 4 years, like when you think about activism and politics and culture, like how do those things like parallel for you when you like think about what goes, like, yeah, it's an election year, we're voting, right?
Right.
That's important, but there's so many things that are happening minutes, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's like, how does activism and politics and culture, how do those things all, how those parallels come together? Like, how have you like seen those things come together?
Well, for me, I've seen it come together because parallel with each other, because when I first came into this, I used to do interviews and I say, well, before I say something, I'll say without getting too political, and I'll answer it. But then I realize what I'm talking about is politics. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm doing, activism, is politics. Anything that affects my culture is politics. You know what I'm saying? So everything, that's why we have to, that's why we may not say, oh, we may not feel the importance of who to vote for, but voting matters. Because if you don't, my thing is, I heard it, I researched it and heard it from Sharpton himself. If you don't vote, it doesn't matter, your voice don't matter. Because you if you don't vote, that person that you really don't want in that seat gonna get in that seat. So that's the difference. You say, oh, I voted for this one, he didn't get in there. Okay, keep doing it. Keep doing it, it's gonna happen. You know, you may think that the system is rigged and all that, and it just may be. I don't get into all of that conspiracy stuff. I really don't. You know, because you can't be a conspiracist and pray at the same time.
Word. Another word.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, I go in there, I pray, I research and educate myself on who I'm voting for, first of all. And then I go in there and I cast my vote. You know, people want to know who I'm voting for. That's my business. But I'm voting for the culture. Just put it like that.
Right. So that's one direct parallel. You're voting for the culture.
Right.
And politics affects your culture.
Exactly.
And activism, that's just what, like the in-between and the bookend.
The activism is what activates the parallel.
Got it.
You know, because if you could be into politics, and of course you in the culture, but if you don't know how to, this is the way I break down activism. If you don't know how to be active, then it's not going to be parallel. If you don't know how to activate people's mindsets or the way they think or the way they move or how they care about themselves, then it's not parallel. And then you got to have activity. You know what I'm saying? So those are the three main points I look at when I think of activism. You know what I mean? You can't be an activist if you don't do those three things right there.
Noted.
And keep it parallel.
Right.